What's up, Celtics Nation? Get ready because today's show is absolutely electrifying, the kind that keeps you on the edge of your seat. The news we've got lined up is going to blow your mind, I guarantee it. We've got a coaching shakeup, a prospect that could change our future, a heartbreaking goodbye on the horizon, and a bombshell that could turn our season upside down. You won't believe what we've got for you today. So grab a seat, hit that like button, and let's dive right into the news. You thought you'd seen it all, right? Think again. The first piece of news today is hitting like a deep three from half court, the kind that leaves you breathless. Get ready for a change that at first glance might seem like a subtle move on the Celtics chessboard, but it has the potential to directly impact the future of our franchise. I'm talking about a shift in the coaching staff of our G League affiliate, the Maine Celtics. And it's not just anyone taking the reins, my friends. It's someone who knows the Celtics DNA like few others. Phil Pressey, our former point guard and until now player development coach, is the new head coach of Maine. The news, brought to us by the renowned Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, rattled the behind-the-scenes world and makes us ponder the depth of this decision. Pressey, who went undrafted in 2013, got his big break in the Celtics Summer League and, with a lot of grit and talent, earned a spot in our organization. He spent 2 years with us, and get this, he even spent some time in Maine with the G League team, developing his game. After stints with the Philadelphia 76ers, Phoenix Suns, and Golden State Warriors, and even an international journey in Turkey and Spain, Pressey returned home in 2023, joining Joe Mazzulla's coaching staff as a development coach. And why is this so important, fans? Because the Maine Celtics is the breeding ground for future talent. That's where our prospects, the guys who come through the draft or those the front office sees hidden potential in, will polish their game and adapt to the intensity of the NBA. And having a guy like Phil Pressey at the helm, someone who's been through that entire process, from searching for an opportunity, battling in the G League, ascending to the NBA, and gaining international experience, is a huge asset. He understands the player's mindset, the pressure, the difficulties, and most importantly, he knows the path to development. Pressey himself, in an appearance on The Basketball Podcast with Chris Oliver, talked about this transition from player to coach, citing his father's influence, who also made that switch. He saw himself as an extension of the coach on the floor, especially as a point guard, always striving to learn and evolve. And this lifelong learner mentality is gold for someone who will mold our future stars. The Celtics front office, always on the lookout, will continue scouting talent, especially in the second round of the draft, and those underrated players looking to unearth raw gems and polish them for the NBA. And Pressey's role in this is crucial. He'll be tasked with providing stability and developing the players who will be yo-yoing between the main roster and the G League. Imagine the pressure of having to adjust these guys' games to the physicality and speed of the NBA, working on their weaknesses and refining their strengths. It's an enormous responsibility, but with a guy like Pressey in charge, it gives us a shot of confidence. This move, though behind the scenes, shows the Celtics' commitment to building a solid future, brick by brick, and that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. Speaking of the future and game-changing players, the next piece of news is the kind that makes us dream. Get ready because the NBA draft is almost upon us, and the Celtics have two precious picks to shape our roster, the 28th and 32nd. In a scenario where our payroll is sky high, every pick is crucial. Every player needs to make an immediate impact. And it's in this context that a name has caught the eye of scouts and analysts worldwide. Rasheer Fleming from St. Joseph's. This kid is the embodiment of versatility. And get this, he already looks NBA ready. In his junior season, Fleming shined with averages of 14.7 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 1.3 assists, shooting an amazing 53.1% from the field, 39% from beyond the arc, and 74.3% from the free throw line. If the Celtics can draft Fleming, he'd fit like a glove and make a difference from day one. But let's dive deeper into this prospect's game and understand why he would be a steal for our team. Fleming's biggest asset, what makes him such a coveted target, is his two-way impact. Defensively, with his 6'9" frame and 7'5" wingspan, he has the ability to guard multiple positions. His length and athleticism make him an incredibly disruptive off-ball defender. He averaged 1.5 blocks and 1.4 steals last season. Fleming's recovery time is astonishingly quick, allowing him to rack up blocks as a help side defender. His size and shot blocking ability allowed him to play center at times in college, which projects him as a small ball 5 at the NBA level. And it doesn't stop there. Fleming has the quickness, length, and size to shut down perimeter players. His motor and versatility shine on defense. He's also one of the best rebounders in his class, with a defensive rebounding percentage of 22.8%. In short, Fleming is one of the most complete and impactful defenders we have in this draft. Offensively, Fleming can both stretch the floor and score at the rim. Impressively, he shot 39% from beyond the arc last season, while he only shot 31.3% from 3 in his previous 2 seasons. His recent development as a shooter is extremely encouraging. At the NBA level, being able to shoot and defend is key for most role players. If Fleming's shot translates to the league, he has the potential to be an elite level role player. With his athleticism, cutting and rolling, Fleming is an efficient source of offense at the rim. He shot 69.9% at the rim with a true shooting percentage of 63.8%. Having an efficient scorer at the rim and beyond the arc would be extremely beneficial for the Celtics. Fleming isn't much of a self-creator or a passer. However, in an off-ball role on a talented team like the Celtics, he would thrive. With the uncertainty surrounding Jason Tatum's injury, don't worry, we'll get to that soon. And the future of all our centers, Boston will be looking to bolster both their wing and big man depth. In some ways, Fleming offers the best of both worlds. As a versatile defender, he'd perfectly fit the Celtics' defensive identity, while his three-point shooting would make him a natural fit in Joe Mazzulla's system. Fleming has a wide range of draft projections. He could be picked anywhere from the late lottery to the late first round. If Fleming falls to the Celtics with the 28th pick, it would be a massive steal for Boston. But hold on, because what's coming next is even more unbelievable. And we haven't even finished processing the draft excitement, and now comes another piece of news that's going to mess with our emotions. But this time, in a way that might sting a bit for us Celtics faithful. Get ready, because the Celtics are in a tight financial spot. And that's no secret to anyone in the NBA. The whole league is eyeing our roster, waiting for an opportunity to snatch some of our players, whether through advantageous trades or free agent signings. And one of the names on the radar, unfortunately, is our beloved Luke Kornet. This season was the first where Kornet was able to contribute so significantly to the main squad, and his impact didn't go unnoticed. Other teams took notice. And the most painful part of all this is that if the Celtics are forced to let go of Luke Kornet, one of our biggest rivals could end up benefiting from it. Yes, you heard that right. There's a strong chance Kornet could draw interest from none other than the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are a team desperately in need of a center and looking to improve their depth at that spot. They could be very interested in bringing Kornet in to help with their front court needs. And it's no wonder, right? Kornet showed this season that he can effectively block shots near the rim and grab a ton of rebounds. Plus, he showed flashes of a three-point shot, which makes him even more valuable on the free agent market. He's a player with developing 3-and-D potential, something every NBA team is looking for. The Celtics had him on a very cheap contract this season, a real steal. But now, he's definitely going to command more money in free agency. It might not be a fortune, but even a smaller salary increase might be too much for Boston, given our extremely precarious cap situation. The new collective bargaining agreement, ICBA, imposes heavy restrictions, and the Celtics simply won't have the wiggle room to bring back fringe rotation pieces unless they can offload larger contracts from other players. Kornet is the type of player the Celtics would love to keep, precisely because he won't demand an astronomical salary. Something in the range of $5 or $6 million a year, not $11 or $12 million. He's a role player who delivers, who fulfills his role, who understands the team culture and fits perfectly into Joe Mazzulla's system. His return will be determined by our ability to move Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. That's the reality. If we can't alleviate the salary cap with those bigger moves, saying goodbye to Kornet might be inevitable. This season, Kornet averaged 6 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.6 assists per game, with an impressive 66.8% shooting from the field. These numbers show his consistency and his importance to our rotation, especially when we needed front court depth. Losing a player like him who showed so much commitment and improvement, and especially to a rival like the Lakers, would be a tough blow. It's a heartbreaking situation, one that leaves us with a lump in our throats. But hold on, because what's coming next is even more unbelievable and might be the most impactful news of all. You thought you seen the worst with Kornet's potential departure, didn't you? Pay close attention now, because the next piece of news is a gut punch, the kind that makes the ground disappear beneath your feet. It's information that could completely reshape the Boston Celtics next season and, to be honest, shake our faith in the pursuit of a championship. As the team prepares for the offseason, a mountain of doubts hangs over the roster, especially with the heavy restrictions from the new collective bargaining agreement, CBA, forcing us to cut salaries. And it was already expected that this could mean the departure of some key names like Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, who have been the subject of intense trade rumors. But what's coming now is far more devastating. Brace yourselves. The most shocking rumor, the one that keeps any Celtics fan up at night, is that our superstar, the driving force of the team, Jason Tatum, could miss most of next season due to an Achilles tendon injury. Yes, you read that. Right! The bomb dropped like a lightning bolt on a clear sky, and the implications are simply catastrophic. It's the kind of news that paralyzes you, that makes you question everything, and as if this tragedy weren't enough, we still have this uncertainty surrounding our big men, Al Horford and Luke Kornet, who could leave the team this offseason as free agents. The scenario is grim. A drastically different Celtics next year, and with all these changes, the team might have an immense difficulty keeping a player like Horford. Our Celtics analyst Brian Robb from Mass Live had already warned about this possibility, mentioning that Horford might be heading towards retirement or looking for a team in a better position to compete for a title in the twilight of his career. Horford, the heart and soul of our locker room leadership, has hinted that retirement is on the horizon. And despite his desire to stay with the Celtics, the reality is he wants one last real chance to contend for a ring before he hangs up his sneakers. With the Celtics likely taking a step back as title contenders next season due to Tatum's potential, absence, and financial restrictions, the departure of our veteran is an increasingly real scenario, and it would be an irreparable loss. Al was a crucial piece for this team. Not just for his numbers, but for his presence, his basketball IQ, and his voice in the locker room. Last season, Horford averaged 9.0 points, 6.2 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 0.6 steals, and 0.8 blocks per game. It's true there's been a decline in his play, especially on the defensive end of the ball. But his leadership, his ability to organize the defense, and his experienced voice in the locker room have always been invaluable. Losing that anchor, coupled with Tatum's potential absence, puts us at a dangerous crossroads. This Tatum news, my friends, is a knockout punch. It's the kind of twist that changes the landscape of an entire franchise. How are we going to deal with this? Who's going to carry the load? This 2025-2026 season, which seemed promising, now turns into a minefield of unprecedented uncertainties and challenges. So now what? Will this change ruin the season, or was it the best thing that could have happened? I want to hear your opinions in the comments. So Celtics Nation, we've reached the end of another explosive report, and I know your minds are racing. Today we talked about the strategic move with Phil Pressey taking over the main Celtics, a seemingly small move that has the potential to mold our future talents and secure that green and white DNA. Then we dove into the hope of the draft with Rasheed Fleming, a prospect who could be a perfect fit for our needs. A true steal if it falls to us. Next, our hearts sank with the near certainty of Luke Kornet's farewell and the painful possibility of seeing him reinforce a historical rival. And last, but certainly not least impactful, the devastating news about Jason Tatum's potential injury, which could turn next season upside down. Now I want to hear from you. Is the Celtics' decision to restructure the G League with Pressey a huge win or just a distraction? And what about Tatum? How do you all feel about that bombshell? Can this team reinvent itself without him and still chase a banner, or is it the end of the line for our aspirations next season? Comment below. I want to see the debate ignite in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's ride this out together, Celtics Nation.